Hi everyone, welcome back to Barcast TV and to the Bar Academy. Today we have a submitted replay from our man Razer over here in the red pieces, and wanted to address perhaps some of the things I see him see him doing differently, and then we're gonna look at like a pro level replay on this same map to kind of compare and contrast how they're approaching specifically the open and early game and how we might emulate that. So hope this helps. For those of you new here, welcome. This is Barcast TV. This is The Game is Beyond All Reason. Free to play RTS, and you can join us and enjoy this wonderful game and get involved learning it through the Bar Academy. So, I mean, this is a whole spiel, but yeah, you can, download the game, get into the Beyond All Reason or Bar Discord, and show up at the Bar Academy. Yeah, so you too can get involved. That out of the way, let me pause this. Maybe get into a better orientation, something like that. And I just want to address one thing. So, Razer, you said haven't tried this map before. Very cool. So, I will share my thoughts approaching a map. Say I was new to this. I was new to this map, and I was even figuring out where to spawn. I'd ask myself two questions, kind of. Is it a bot lab? Is it a bot map? Is it a vehicle map? Seems kind of split both ways. Kind of laney, and it's flat and open. It's good for vehicles, but there's also some interesting features. So, bots or vehicles really have a hard time getting up on this cliff over here. They can't get up on this cliff. I think like the Beaver can or whatever the amphibious construction vehicle. They definitely can't get up here, and they can't get up on this plateau. So there's a decent amount of the map that's favors bots, right? So you have there's even a little bit of reclaim. I don't like making red spots on this map, so don't have to worry about that. So second question would be, where can I place myself such that I can expand pretty much equidistantly to most of the map? And maybe that's always not the best question to ask. Some maps it's pretty fair, like especially if they're large, right? This map isn't supremely large, so we can consider some other things answering that. But let's try. I think you've picked it actually here, right? So this is the most centrally located position you can spawn to in your starting backs and be able to expand to other areas on the map, right? So, hey, story checks out. I will say that in doing that on this map specifically, this might not be the case on every map, you just end up with a super short rush distance between the two main bases. And certain players, more so than others, will exploit that. So just something you have to look out for. I see you're opening core bots, pretty standard in 1v1s, and I don't mind that at all. I'm going to unpause the game and maybe as nitpicky as possible. Hate to do this, but I'll try and point out the things that I see that's wrong. I know Razer, from talking to you last week, Razer's new to Bar. I think he's only been playing like less than 2 weeks, but he comes from TA and is a long time member in the pro clan. That's why that's like 20 years or something. Pretty cool. So 2 mechs, 3 wind turbines. You have over 60E. Really nice. I don't mind 2 mech starts. I've been thinking about using this in my own play. I can maybe speed it up a little bit. Let's see what you do. So you go 2 grunts. Actually, I'll pause here and then switch to the player cam. Ooh, I see you're really zoomed in. Let's try this. Go to control and turn this limit camera zoom like all the way up. Try playing like this for a week and see how it feels. Also, I'm not sure if you're using grid or not, but that's also here in the control column and your statistics menu or settings menu. It's grid categories, grid optimize down here. So get on that, set the limit camera zoom. I don't know why it's not working in replays actually, but I think it's somewhere around here. You're really only are able to zoom into, and that'll just help you so much. So let me turn off this. Your factory just finished. What are you gonna do? Mechs. Don't mind it. Look, we have a full E-bar. Takes a while for this unit to get going, and then we move back into wind turbines. I like this so far. Maybe go like 4 more wind turbines, 5 more before adding on this radar tower, because you can see we're like stalling energy all of a sudden. Let's compare this to our opponent. What is he doing? He's 4 wind turbines and is assisting the factory. I don't like this too much because he's about to stall. Minus 188 to 70, 229 in the bank for energy, and still has a lot of metal. Notice that, like, you've done a little bit better job spending the metal, but like, what do you do in this position? Like, hey, well, maybe don't mess up and be making wind turbines before you make this radar, because they cost so much E, 630 E. Why not make a solar collector if you're in this position? So is that what you do? No, we're assisting the factory. Ooh, big mistake here. Look at this. We're just getting okay. I think you realize it, and you start adding on wind turbines. Kind of intuitively, you might sense this is what you need to be doing, but notice one thing about these two structures. Wind turbines cost energy to make and solar collectors don't, and also wind is like crashing right now, 6.1. So even adding on these wind turbines might not be the best decision. I think here the play is to just go solar collector, maybe 2 solar collectors. Where to place these is a great question. Let's think about where our opponent's going to be attacking from. This ties back into an earlier point I might not have been able to touch on. It was just where to spawn, right? You're in these really short attack distances, right, between your opponent. How are there any other options you have to spawn such that it kind of reduces that distance or that threat? But that's neither here nor there. The question at hand is, where do we make our solar collectors? And based off of like, hey, the units are coming from over here, maybe I'll put a solar collector like here and here, right? That might not be so good, right? Because we got to think, where's our commander? Put a solar collector here, put a solar collector here, and maybe where that wind turbine is, maybe you end up building an LLT at some point and your commander's standing over here. Suddenly, both sides of your bases are pretty well protected, rather. That's kind of more higher up down the chain. Like we need to nail down opening build order here. Really get it nailed down. Spending the starting metal. Really using all of our commander's build power to get that down really well, and you'll have much more interesting things to focus on. So we're still stalling E, still assisting with our commander. I'm not sure if you realize how much of a blunder this is, but I'll try and reiterate it. This is pretty bad. You really want to be spending this starting metal. So I would say, like, how do I know this is bad, right? Well, compare this to like another map. It's kind of hard to, and it's I was gonna say, because you can just like jump into another game and just do it better, pause it here at 204 and compare how much metal you have in the bank or like how many units you have out. But it's hard to kind of replicate what wind has done in this specific game. So I would just argue that I think at least one extra solar collector, maybe 2, just based off of what wind does here in the next couple seconds. But I think you could have definitely had 2 solar collectors up by now. You might not be stalling and like, oh, wind's still going down, right? So it's like the 2 solars are done. You still want to assist the factory with your commander because that's definitely the play, but you still don't have E. But notice we have a lot of metal in the bank, so don't be afraid to put these down. Actually, like one cool thing about solar collectors is they're build power efficient. I see you're getting a little raid or harass on the other side of the map, but solar collectors are build power efficient with your commander. So just compared to like what else is capable of building, right? Say like at this moment, we're still kind of stalling on E, right? We have 60 in the bank, we have 60 in the bank, and you want to use all your build power, which is this factory producing, this construction bot expanding, and maybe like this commander assisting the factory. So we know we have more build power than we can spend right now. So how can we fix that? Making a solar collector also fixes that, because your commander is not drawing on this, using 100% of that beefy 300 build power. Your bot lab doesn't use a lot. Minus 40? What is that? Why is that like changing? I'm not sure. I think I saw minus 40 there, but oh, that's not showing it because you're stalling. Maybe super hard, but anyways, you fix this by using your commander's build power in this metal. So I'm kind of harping on this, but you could be in such a better position, and we're gonna contrast that. So to a replay here just in a few minutes. So I like this expansion, really nice. Come down here. LLT first is pretty safe. I can touch on that if you like, Razer. So let me zoom out here. Be thinking, where are good radar positions? Because this is at this stage in the game, 3 minutes and 12 seconds. Bot versus bots, you know your core bots versus core bots. You got to be thinking, how can I get an advantage using the same units, right? And one of the ways I've been finding to do that, or one of the ways you'll see higher level players do that, is more radars, less LLTs. So more units, more radars in the right places. A few LLTs scattered out here and there, right? Maybe like there's a couple locations that are great choke points. Oh, over here. That might be it, you could argue. All right. Protects everything behind it. Bots can still run over this hill, so I'm not sure how good it is. Where are good radars? Here for sure, 100% is just primo radar spot. Ting. And then I've also found this is great for radar. Of course, you can edge build radars on this plateau. If you find yourself as an air player, like here's a great radar. You can edge build those with cons, I think, or even commanders for sure. Over here, right? So have a good radar positions. This early on in the game, I would like to see, like, what's this? Max, LLT, max, radar LLT, something like that, you know? What would this other con do? Like max, cap these 3 maxes, and then go like LLT there. But that doesn't include like making this radar. If I were to send with my second construction bot up to this plateau, I would make their radar and then go 2 maxes. Because like this early on, the radar isn't as good as it will be, and then maybe like 60 seconds from now or 2 minutes from now. So you don't want to build it too early to defend yourself. Actually, I see you have one in your main base. Fabulous. This is really nice. It's like, ooh, why would you need to be making an LLT here if you see there's grunts over here, you know? So that's just the power and the utility of this. And you can cut, I guess, back to this whole tangent was how do you get an advantage? It's like the grunt versus grunt player. Oof. That was a lot. Thanks for staying with me, boys. I'm gonna take a sip of coffee. So here we are, 3 minutes and 30 seconds. I'm gonna pause here because I'll try and remember in this next replay. 3 minutes and 30 seconds. What do you have? Hopefully someone plays core bots in that game. Was that 5 grunts? A con, a radar. You're sitting at like what, plus almost max wind. You have 220 E, 7 metal per second. So bear with me. I'm gonna write that down. So what is this? Sorry, I just pulled up a notepad so I can get this. 5 grunts? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You lost one in his main, so 6 so far. 2 cons. Plus 220E. And plus 7 metal. Okay, not a bad spot. I would argue if you're still, like, yeah, if you're submitting tickets in the Bar Academy and you haven't gotten this 3 minutes and 30 seconds down, it's like I want you to focus on that a little more before we start diving into like how many AFU do I need, something like that. But you know, that's I'm completely biased, of course, just kind of showing my cards here. So third con. I love to see it. But this is where things start falling apart, right? Okay, now we're getting shit on it. I think this is, excuse me, but I think that's what you said in your in your academy ticket. How do I and like, oh, the LLT suddenly looks like you're a genius, right? There's 3 grunts over here. They can't kill this con. But I think the damage has been like just the inefficiencies of your open, even the spawning positions, expansion patterns, right? This is genius. Look at this, man. Razer knows what he's doing. So I think it's more like in these grunt versus grunts. You have to, it seems like we're already like losing the game at this point in some ways, but I don't, maybe not, but let's think like, where do we need grunts to not die? We have these fabulous radar positions up. So in this early game, before you want to, I'm kind of like biased because I'm a pretty defensive player in some ways playing bots. Like I want to make sure my cons are able to expand, right? So I want grunts protecting this lane. We have this fabulous radar position, right? So we can even like maybe keep grunts here and then you can respond to radar signatures. I would have a couple of grunts, maybe 1 or 2 grunts trying to get to these points here so you can see run-bys that are coming onto your side of the map. If you have a spare grunt or 2, just run up the sides of the map, something like this, way out of the way. But really you want to be pooling grunts like, oh, you want to be pooling grunts where you're expanding to. So say like these are your expanding cons. You have this radar. That radar was destroyed, right? But you had some really nice radar positioning. It's like, keep your army here. Keep your army here. Your commander's in the main base. It can protect that. These units can come by and like kind of protects the flanks of your bases, right? Coming from where you're keeping your army. But think that your factory is producing units in a stream, so that's kind of protected in some ways. Your commander's protecting your main base. Keep your armies like in these radar fields, such that you have really great ideas of like when things are coming in. Have a couple of grunts over here protecting, like getting that vision, because you want to be playing zoomed out, right? If you're playing like say here, oh, you can see everything, right? I can move my grunts to these other grunts, like, you know, they're there. No? So, sorry if this is a little ranty or long-winded, but just trying to share my intuitions or like my thought processes in these kinds of situations here. So we're 4 minutes and 30 seconds in. I'd still call this very much the early game. And our run-bys are getting cleaned up, it seems. We're getting raided. So radar gonna go down. A grunt disappeared? Is it still there? That's wild. I mean, I didn't see the grunt there. It was still shooting, so pretty interesting. Yeah, this is a nice raid. Well done, sir. But at the cost of doing this, I think we lost a little more opportunity over here. So if this replay doesn't go on for much longer, let me turn off the player camera. I mean, helicopter is just shitting out grunts. Look at him go. And this is a pretty good kiting. You want to get into this kind of position as kind of the blue player, being able to kite in these arcs around small groups, small batches of grunts. That's how you take efficient trades. Let me speed this up a little. Razer, I'm really happy you submitted this replay. So if you guys want to show your support, maybe hit the like button. If you're interested in continuing the conversation, hit the subscribe button. I produce a lot of 1v1 content, build orders, player interviews. I've done a lot of those. So I got some decent stuff going on here. We have a new qualifier coming up just in the next, or tomorrow actually, starts the Saturday qualifier, and we have a Sunday one after that. So it's going to be February 10th, February 11th, if you're watching this on YouTube. Hopefully you got time. And I see like an idle con, an idle commander, so idle factory. This is maybe frustrating to experience. I'm used to it, I guess, in some ways, but maybe a reason we don't see more 1v1 players is just kind of how stressful it can be, or what you need to be focusing on, right? It's like, oh, there's a raiding over here, there's, you know, expanding cons, defending yourself, defending all these raids from 2 different locations, right? While microing over here, while macroing, right? It's a lot, I get it. So it takes, I think, a little bit of practice, and the game makes it easy. We have tools. So I've done us the favor. Wow, look at this. Just that same, or yesterday, the day before this game, Blodir and Randy played on the same map. Wow. I was pretty excited to see that when I downloaded your play. I thought, well, let's look at his and then compare it to something else and maybe pick up a build order if we can. So we're gonna have a lot to analyze this game. I'd like to touch on where they chose to spawn, where they're expanding to, opening build orders. Are they playing vehicles or bots, you know? So these higher level guys have different interpretations. How they like to play. Even notice, so Blodir's in this forward position, and he's a little more tucked up under the hill over here. That's cool to see. And I'll leave the link to these 2 games in the description. I guess Randy. Okay, so we got a lot of spectators here. I might want to keep that on for a moment. Andy doing this cute little build power trick, doing the 3 max open with the solar collector. He's playing ARM. Is Blodir playing core? He is. Okay, so let's watch Mr. Blodir here. Going core bots. So max, 3 wind turbines, mechs, factory, 4 more wind turbines. And what does he do? I think that was con 4 grunts. I wouldn't be surprised. And very specific, like, that's interesting. So it goes up to 3 cons and then just into grunt production. Even removed a con. So I'm going to turn off these spectator chat interface. Wind is different this game, so a little like idiosyncratic to the specific wind speed on that specific map. But let's continue to analyze this nonetheless. I think I actually have like a low wind speed build order on my channel, specifically this map from Chisato, so maybe dig that up. Hopefully I can find that and link that in the description, right? But a bit of a variant. So wind was really good. Wind was really strong at the start of the game, and our man Blodir just had grunts coming out of the factory while his commander's adding on these extra wind turbines, and now I think he's ready to assist some. Let's see what he does. This is a cool start. I like this. So what, 4 grunts into con? Haven't seen this before. And then radar. So notice that he's not stalling. Also the radar positioning as far forward is pretty much you can get it. His E-bar was under 50%, so he's just adding on 2 more wind turbines. Wind's really powerful in this game, so cool to see. So he gets 1 con out, comes up and expands to the plateau first, and then away from his opponent. No LLTs, no radars, and then right into wind turbines. So Blodir can see these rovers. He's protecting his main base. There's an LLT already up, so he loses 1 grunt. I don't want to focus what he's seeing over here, but I mean, look how... This is great, Mike. I could probably do a whole episode on like grunt micro and that early part of the game, but I really want to focus on the macro side of things and where he's expanding. So, what was that? 5 grunts, con, 2 grunts, con, into 100 grunts. So basically grunts on repeat. Where is this con going? To the back. He goes LOT first over here, but notice how his first expansion was on the plateau, so don't mind that. Continuing to make grunts. Look at the position on the grunts, like in between the two cons even. And the main base. So really tucked up, really buttoned up. He sees the commander over here, so he kind of knows where not to attack. And he knows like there's no like all-in push coming, I think. You would see the commander in the main base if that was a thing, or you probably see the tanks in your base as well. He's trying to find damage. Blitzes are pretty good against grunts, but you can kite them all day long. Approaching 330. Still adding on wind turbines. Let me go for 2 more cons. So this is something I've been doing in my home games. And I want to say I picked it up from Ragna, but it's like, and Ragna, correct me if I'm wrong on this, but it's like you have to add in, or like be greedy with bot build power in some ways versus a vehicle player. So, and it's like, but when you do that, it's kind of specific. So notice Blodir has got this expansion covered. Vehicles can't even get to this plateau. He's got a raid moving out on the map. He's got harassing units on his opponent's side. And he more or less knows, like, okay, the commander's here. There's tanks in the back protecting those from getting raided. I cleaned up one of these scouts. He knows there's one scout out there. So he's at liberty to attack. And then behind this attack, behind this safety and comfort of like knowing where your opponent's units are, he just adds on build power. Perhaps we'll see him continue doing this as the game progresses. But yeah, we're at 330. Okay. You had 6 grunts. He has 1, 2, 3, 10. He lost 2 over here. So was that 15 grunts? He had 4. I only see the 1 wreck. So there's another wreck. So was that 14, 15 grunts? I might have mistaken the counting, but we have 1, 2, 3 cons out, or third con is almost done. We've got, wind's at 12. We have a little less wind, but we have +2 metal income, which is huge for grunts, right? What is the factory building at? -3.4, right? So almost half of what your factory needs to run itself, right? So pretty cool to see. The LLT finishes. He splits off his 2 grunts. He wants to track down this rover. Not doing the perfect job of micro because he's kind of doing things all over the map. Let's look at the player view and camera. Oh, wow. He's completely zoomed out. And he's staying zoomed out. Wow. Goes in pretty far. I wonder if he used tab to do that. That was pretty quick. I think he's actually, yeah, switching between the 2 cameras with tab. That's interesting. I'll have to ask Blodir if he does that. Or if you're watching, you can answer. So, pause. Turn this off. This is really cool. 4 minutes, 18 seconds into the game. We're making 2 mexes. Love it. We have a single radar. We're getting a construction turret. Look, this is almost done. Sorry I missed when he started this exactly, but we have decent metal in the bank. They don't cost a lot of metal. It costs a shit ton of E. But he just gets this up like seamlessly, right? No stalling, nothing like that. Just adds 200 build power. I'd say you almost are able to start thinking moving out with your commander, but I think it's best to just use it to make more grunts. You really have to be able to contest this blitz player with grunts on his side of the map for as long as you can, right? But he's being aggressive and he's denying any kind of raiding. Look at these grunts on the extreme sides, right? Trying to protect against rumpies, trying to get some scouting information. Andy, this is really nice. I think this is maybe why he spawned here, is look at these 2 LLTs you end up getting. That's really cool. Classic fashion, he's just kind of creeping onto the map, and he's got such a cool style. Pretty safe style, but he's great. So I think I'll end it here. We saw a lot of cool things. We saw a lot of cool things from Blodir. How he got up this early con turret, his expansion patterns, how he's able to raid and make a lot more grunts. Like, look at where he's keeping these grunts. Right? Protecting himself. And he's just able to use all this build power, but 500 build power plus the factory to just make grunts right now, 5 minutes into the game. And we're not really stalling on E too hard. So I would recommend Razer, download this replay, man. Study it up, try and write it down, and then get into a custom game versus an inactive AI and try and emulate it. In a vacuum. If wind changes, add on a solar, like play with it. You might not be in the exact same position, but just like the theory behind all this, I would get nailed down. And for newer players out there, if you don't have a build order for a specific map, I mean, the higher you go, the less it matters having a build order or a great idea of how you're going to be doing like these meta decisions outside of the game. But for newer players, I would definitely recommend studying in the lab and getting in the lab and practicing versus like basically nothing, and just keep restarting the game until you get it. Spend like 30 minutes, an hour doing that. You'll have this perfectly nailed down. So hope that helps. Glad to do it. If you're new to bar, yeah, get involved in the Bar Academy. It's in the Discord. You'll find us in there. There's plenty of mentors, a lot of other players. So hope to see you all there. And hope to see you guys in the qualifiers and the upcoming Bar Pro League, the round of 8s on the 24th of February. February 24th, that's the last Saturday. And we're going to have the round of 16 matches on the 17th. So there's a lot of cool stuff coming up. I'm going to be doing like a bracket drawing ceremony for that. I'll try and cover as many of the round of 16 games as I can, but I'm definitely going to be online and live the 24th talking about the round of 8 to the final. So hope to see you guys there. Hope you have a great day. Catch you later.